Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new box office breakdown show here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Stinberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do this box office breakdown show every single week, as well as other movie, TV show reviews, and movie rankings. Today on this box office breakdown show, we're going to break down the overall 2022 domestic and worldwide charts and break down this past weekend, which saw the release of the only DCEU film of the year, Black Adam, to theaters. So please subscribe. Ring the bell. We're going to break it down right now. Comment down below. Did you see Black Adam in theaters? What were your theater experiences? What did you see this upcoming weekend? What did you see last weekend? And please like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. So not shockingly, of course, Black Adam, of course, is the biggest movie of the weekend. This was also The Rock's biggest opening as a lead actor in Hollywood. The film made $67 million in its opening weekend. There are so many different takes on it. This was a great opening, a good opening, an okay opening, or an awful opening. And it's just is all over the place. Now, if you look at the recent DCEU films, this is obviously a return to form for the DCEU. This is during the pandemic and pre-pandemic. They've been really struggling. Obviously, the Suicide Squad really struggled. Birds of Prey really didn't have a great opening, and this did open bigger than Shazam as well, which The Rock is producing the sequel to, which is coming out in early 2023, which will probably tie into this film somehow. I'm not here to talk about the film whatsoever. But Black Adam opens at $67 million, which a lot of people who are positive are saying, well, this opened $1 million below Aquaman. Now, Aquaman did open at $68 million, but while it opened at $68 million, it only had a 23% drop, which it is just super rare, especially for a big blockbuster nowadays, especially in the pandemic, to have that big, and especially if the word of mouth isn't as great. Now, while it is not doing very well critically, the movie Black Adam, the audience ratings on Rotten Tomatoes are like 90%, but the cinema score is a B+. So clearly the word of mouth it's good, not great word of mouth, like other superhero films we've seen, like a Spider-Man No Way Home. Black Adam is it's all about how it drops its second week in its progression. Now, obviously, people are saying, well, it opened the same amount as Aquaman. It will get to $1 billion because Aquaman, a lot of people forget, did make $1 billion. Now, I think this is a good enough opening for The Rock to continue his plans in the DCEU. This is, again, a big deal for him because he's never had this big of an opening as a lead, as the face of a movie by a lot. His other big movies they've opened with have been in the Fast and Furious franchise where he's not the lead. And this did open bigger than Hobbs and Shaw here domestically. So we will see a lot of his films do really well internationally. We'll get all of his numbers, but I would say, in my opinion, it's a good weekend for Black Adam. But again, we really can't judge how this film does at the box office for the next 2 or 3 more weeks. You guys see how it drops off next week. Next week's a big indicator on if this film was deemed a success or not. So next week we'll check out how did it do. This is also for Warner Brothers Discovery, their last film of the year. Halfway through the year, they said Don't Worry, Darling and Black Adam would be their last 2 films of the year. So no more films coming out this year for Warner Brothers Discovery. In second place is the other cross-programming that Universal was trying to get for people who didn't want to see a superhero movie, want to see a rom-com in October, I guess. And that was Ticket to Paradise, the returning duo of George Clooney and Julia Roberts. It made $16.5 million for Universal this weekend. This is a solid number, but not a great number. It's also just a weird time to put this movie. It feels like it could be more of like a Christmas, maybe a March movie for Valentine's Day, but it just feels like forced counter programming. I think this film will do really well on streaming once Universal puts it on PVOD, which should be very soon, once it probably takes a big hit in its second weekend, with a lot of horror competition still in theaters. And once it hits Peacock, I think it will do very well there. But I think a lot of people thought this was more of a streaming movie than it was got to go to the theater to see it. So Ticket to Paradise, number 2, did good, but still, I think he'll have much better chances doing better on PVOD and on Peacock. still keeping up with the great month of October is Smile, which has been the Cinderella story of horror films this year. It makes a 8.4 million in its fourth weekend. Again, only a 33% drop. And Smile is now up to $64 million domestically. Great, fantastic numbers for Smile. Not a huge budget for Paramount Pictures. We've talked about this every week since Smile's been in theaters. They have been by far and away the biggest winners of the box office this year with Paramount, with Top Gun Maverick, with Jackass Forever, with the movie with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. I don't know why I'm forgetting it right now. The Lost City, with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, just a ridiculously great year. And again, and also Scream as well, which came out all the way back in January. All these films did well for the studio. So a big, big win. And Smile seems to be the horror winner of October, because the biggest, I think, just as big as the good opening for Black Adam was one of the worst second weekends drops in history with Halloween Ends. Clearly, this franchise is on the way out for Universal and Blumhouse, besides the Universal's second film on this list. Halloween Ends dropped a near record 80% in its second weekend, with an $8 million second weekend, now moving up to $54 million. Now, it opened $40 million, which was the lowest of the new the new trilogy. But this is some embarrassing numbers for Universal and this franchise, and for people like Jamie Lee Curtis, David Gordon Green, and for Jason Blum. Of course, Blumhouse producing this. We talked about it. How would this be? This really was heading in. We were all thinking the horror film to do the best work, but it is currently 10 million back of Smile, and I don't think it will catch Smile. Halloween Ends was obviously released both on Peacock and in theaters, but this is still tracking well below Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills made $49 million opening weekend, which was $9 million more than Halloween Ends, and it had a 70% drop, which is still not very good, but 70 is it's a lot better of a drop than 80%. Both are bad drops. 80 is one of the worst second weekend drops in the history of the movie theaters. It's a really awful drop. We'll see if Universal wants to rush this, or again, it still has a chance because it's Halloween weekend coming up. We'll see if people want to check this movie out in theaters, but embarrassing numbers for everyone across the board for this movie. It's up to 54.1 domestically in 2 weekends. And wrapping up the top 5, still in the top 5 for its third weekend, is Lyle Lyle Crocodile for Sony. 4.2 million, it's a 42% drop. It's up to 28.7. Again, still no one's talking about this movie, and the people who are seeing it aren't really talking about it either. So, but people are still checking it out in the theaters. The only family film that's in theaters at the moment. So I guess this is what kids are doing at the moment. When you look at the numbers here domestically, so far this year, Top Gun Maverick is still number 1, of course, with 716 million. Then you have Jurassic World number 2. This is the same rankings as usual. Jurassic World, Doctor Strange, you have the Batman, Minions, Doctor Strange is 2, then Jurassic World, then Batman, Minions, Thor, Sonic, Elvis, Uncharted, Nope, Lightyear, Lost City, Bullet Train. Still 13 movies over $100 million. The Lost City, Bullet Train just will not be able to catch the Lost City. It's ended its run in theaters. It was under $2 million away from getting to that point. And The Woman King also was not on this list as well. First time in its run, was not on the top 5. Smile is now number 19 on this list, so it will continue to climb. Smile is currently, the next stop is $5 million to pass The Black Phones. That'll be up next for Smile. When you look at the worldwide numbers, Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World, the $2 billion movies this year. Doctor Strange number 3, Minions 4, Batman 5, Thor 6, Fantastic Beasts 9, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 10. So those lists have not changed for months now. Really, for such a long time, it feels like doing this video every week. So this will be the last weekend of movies in the month of October. Halloween's usually not a big movie. It doesn't really bring people to the movies. Either people are at parties or people are trick-or-treating. So not a major time for movies, but there are some new movies hitting theaters this weekend, really 2 of them. The first one is the last horror movie of the month, which is Pray for The Devil. That movie is coming out as well. And then expanding to wide theaters after limited release for the last 2 weeks is the big Oscar hopeful Till, the true story of Emmett Till and his mother. This is getting a lot of Oscar buzz, especially for the main character, Danielle Deadwyler. It's finally releasing at over 1,000 theaters this weekend. So we'll see if that helps its Oscar chances. Next week here on this channel, we're going to break down the month of November. We got a lot of big time movies, including Black Panther, Wakanda Forever coming out in November. So we're going to break down the month of November next week, as well as recap. Did Black Adam have a massive drop in week 2? Did Halloween Ends survive its 3rd weekend in theaters? And does any new additions make a splash at the box office? We'll be back every Monday. Upcoming here on the channel, Wednesday, a review of Andor will be on this channel. More reviews are coming, and every Monday you can come here for more box office break.